Story 1. Another post on here reminded me of this story that actually happened to my sister. We'll call her Amanda. A few years ago, there was a big sporting event my family all wanted to get together and watch. We decided to all gather at my sister's house to view it. She needed to upgrade her television package to include more sports channels, which she was able to do online on the television provider's website. Great. We had a wonderful day, watched the big event, and ate and drank far too much. The issues started when my sister went to cancel the subscription so as not to keep paying the higher rate for future months. Apparently, while you can upgrade your package and give the company more money online, removing the package was much more difficult, of course. They said the only way to cancel the package was over the phone. My sister is deaf. Needless to say, this was an issue. My sister had been emailing and complaining to no avail. At the time this happened, my brother was temporarily staying with my sister, and he called the company for her. The exchange apparently went like this. I am relaying what my sister and brother told me. Brother. Hi, I need to cancel the subscription to Extra Sports for Amanda's second name. Woman. I will need to speak with Amanda. Brother. My sister is deaf. She can't speak with you over the phone. Woman. There's nothing I can do. I have to speak with the account holder if you want to cancel your subscription. Brother. You need to speak with a deaf person on the phone. Woman. Yes. Brother. And you don't see anything wrong with your current system. Woman. All changes have to be done by the account holder. Brother. Yes, exactly. And the only reason this was set up was because she was able to make changes online. You're saying she can't reverse the changes. Woman. All I can tell you is I have to speak with Amanda. At this point, my brother was telling my sister what was being said, and they came up with the perfect solution. Brother. Okay, 1 second. This is Amanda. My brother continued speaking, and it's worth noting he has quite a deep, husky voice. The woman was dead silent. Brother. I need to cancel my sports subscription. Woman. I think you're the person I was just speaking to. Brother. No, I'm Amanda. You said you needed to speak with me. Woman. I thought you were deaf. Brother. And yet you insisted on speaking with me on the phone. So here I am. Please cancel my subscription. I have all the information you need to verify my identity. The subscription got canceled. Story 2. I hope this fits here. I think it does. Mind you, for the context of this story, I was the weird goth, Japanese pop culture enthusiast kid in high school, especially at 14 years old. I wore all black, mostly stuff from trendy stores or anime-related items again. Trendy stores, and few kids liked me or found me attractive. I was just convenient, I suppose, to the boys in this story. I'm currently 24. When I was in high school, I decided to take automotive technology, literally a class in which you learn how to work on cars, normally a path to a career in the field. A quarter of the classes were presentations from automotive technology schools. I took it to learn how to care for my own car and to learn how to not get taken advantage of by a dishonest mechanic, being a woman and all. As one would imagine, my class was mostly boys. I was one of 2 girls in a class of 17 or so. I was 14 years old. The age range of the class was 14, me the youngest, to 17 high school seniors. I love bananas. Like a lot. I had one for lunch every day and often ate in my automotive technology class, seeing as that was my lunch period, and I didn't want to walk across campus like half a mile. I'm lazy to the cafeteria if I brought my own lunch. Most of the class did the same if they had food. The teacher let us stay. I think he liked the company and conversation. He was a super cool dude, just some mechanic who worked weekends as an actual mechanic and weekdays as a high school automotive technology teacher. Every lunch, the remaining boys would watch me intently every day eating my daily banana. I was getting annoyed with this nonsense. My male teacher would tell the guys to mind their own business almost every day, but they never listened, and he didn't have the same power as most teachers since he only taught an elective class. He couldn't assign detentions. He had to go through administration, and they had to actually see the situation to side with him, which never happened. About 2 months into this situation, I got so tired of it. I brought the biggest banana I could grab in the bunch. I waited until just before lunch to pull it out so every boy would see it and want to stay and stare. Once lunch started, I oh so slowly peeled said large banana. Delicately. Excruciatingly slowly. As suggestively as a 14-year-old can get while peeling a banana. My teacher almost said something, but I smiled at him, and he just shrugged. I then proceeded to shove as much of that banana down my throat as possible. The boys all gasped. The teacher cleared his throat and looked away. Less than a second later, I violently bit the heck out of the banana and chewed what was in my mouth as viciously as possible. I was gagging on this huge bite but needed to get my point across, so I dealt with it. There were audible gasps of sympathetic pain. My teacher, upon realizing what I'd done, was hiding laughter. I ate the remainder of the banana as aggressively as possible with the loudest, most ugly chewing possible. Those boys never watched me eat a banana again. I'll tell you that. They wanted provocative banana eating. I gave it to them, I suppose. Story 3. My work environment is less an environment and more so a conglomeration of duct tape, spit, and profanity. I managed, among many things, a set of rentals, accounts receivable, and customer database analysis. Essentially, our company's risk of failure due to key personnel loss was far too high. Another important bit that I handled were various legal documents that the state requires meticulous processes to be followed and allows for a digital or physical paper trail. I opted for digital. Now, my boss kindly provided me with a Pentium 4 dual-core computer that he found at the bargain warehouse for about $40. I had the most sophisticated workstation in the business. For context, this wasn't quite enough for database management and analytical software to boot up, more or less process a dataset, so I called up our information technology guy, who worked for the boss's friend's sister-in-law's business 200 miles away. I go, "Hey Tim, I need to add my personal laptop to the company network. Can you make that happen?" "Sure, I'll be down to that location in a week or two. Can it wait?" "Sounds perfect, Tim." So Tim shows up. We get the boss to rubber stamp that this is all okay, and I have remote access to the servers and some annoying corporate mandated securities on my laptop. Which, no big deal. They stay out of the way. We didn't have anything like a software policy, either. I think some computers had Office 2007 installed, but that's clunky and makes data transfer complicated. It's the 2010s, there's no need for that. I do all of my work on a Google Drive account tied to my work email. This is great because I can hot swap my workstation to wherever the boss wants me today. Sometimes he likes to pretend I'm a secretary and throws me in his office. Sometimes he thinks I'm a technician and puts me at a station with no computer. Whatever. Data is transient. Anyways, things have been tense recently. I've moved almost all of my job to digital, and the boss thinks that means I don't work anymore. Obviously, an office worker with no papers is an office worker with not enough work. Now, he wasn't exactly wrong. I had been automating things and was doing the job of about 6 people. How can I do the job of 6 people without the boss knowing? Easy. He likes to manage by the seat of his pants. One day he fired a maintenance person and just rolled that job into the receptionist, driver, and technician jobs. One day he decided that the sales team could handle marketing. Surely buying a single $2000 camera is cheaper than having a professional do shoots each week. Besides, Guerrilla Handycam sales pitches are in vogue. It'll be great. Moving on, after 2 years of shuffling, I had accumulated a large number of jobs. Many of them were tedious, and with the right tools made by me at home, on my personal laptop that happens to be able to connect to the network, a good 4-hour job can be completed with about 10 minutes of sorting and parsing data. So the time comes. We all know it's coming. One of the executives tipped me off that the particular executive whose payroll is wasted on chumps like me had propositioned the boss that a pair of receptionists can do the work I do, for cheaper. Just hire some college kids, work them each 18 hours a week. It'll be grand. Knowing that, I backed up everything to my personal Google Drive account, but of course did not delete anything from the company-owned one. Like I said, the state has a vested interest in these processes, and I knew in my heart of hearts that the company couldn't be trusted to maintain records. I didn't want to be on the hook for that in 6 years, so I kept a copy. I figured it would go smoothly. I'm called to the big office for a meeting. There are too many executives. My supervisor gives me some side eye. It's not a surprise. I carefully make sure to click log out of all locations on my Google account and tuck my laptop into my car before heading upstairs. The meeting starts with the boss saying, "Well, kiddo," yes, he calls me kiddo. Since I'm not 60 years old, I'm obviously a child. "Well, kiddo, I'm sad to say that I was wrong. I shouldn't have hired you. You're fired." Well, that was blunt and rude, so I stand up, extend my hand across the table, and prepare to thank him for the last few years. "Not so fast. Sit down. We have things to discuss." "Ha, what?" I sit down for a moment in brief shock. The adrenaline starts to pump, and my fingertips are cold. Boss begins to tell me all of the things they need from me. Contacts, account statuses, explanation of discrepancies on accounts receivable accounts, documentation for state interests. All things that, as his competent employee, I could have printed and sitting on his desk in moments. I decide to comply with him, starting the meeting by saying I'm fired. Where I live, either of us can stop the employment situation for any reason. He had legally fired me. I counter him. "Well, boss, I don't feel particularly comfortable accessing your network since I'm not an employee." He exploded. "Think of Karen, a millionaire Karen with little brother syndrome who wants to be John Wayne, but looks a bit too much like Smokey the Bear's fat cousin to get the role." His explosion was violent. Spit everywhere. I'll save you the details of how he stalked me to my car and demanded the employees form a barrier. He called me a few times. They went to voicemail as I drove to a public Wi-Fi hotspot. I carefully removed my laptop from their network. I drove home, unpacked my work lunch. My phone hasn't stopped ringing. He probably had a receptionist being paid minimum wage to hit the redial button. Eventually, I answered a call from his cell phone. He makes some demands. I very flippantly offer to come to work for him at 10 times my rate. He yells some more. An hour later, he's pounding on my door. I don't want to deal with that. I know he carries a loaded pistol in his car again, cowboy emphasis on the boy. The police escort him away, and I email a copy of my security footage to the responding officer. He thanks me. The company doesn't flounder, of course. Bossman is a millionaire and has been very carefully losing tens of thousands of dollars a year while operating his business. He may have lost some more in the interim. But that's not my concern. My concern is collecting my unemployment. And wouldn't you know, I was fired a few days before fall college class selection begins. I decided to take a few master-level classes. I've had my Bachelor of Arts for a while. Might as well get some more school in on the boss's dime. Classes go well, and I coast through spring semester by tapping into a bit of savings. And wouldn't you know it? The pandemic happens, and my unemployment benefits are extended. Guess I'll take some summer classes. And those extended benefits were at 3 times the base unemployment rate. Gee whiz, guess I can take a full set of fall classes too. And then the state extended it for another 3 months at double the base. I have winter session sign-up date marked on my calendar. The bossman calls me this morning. I coyly thank him for firing me without cause a year ago and let him know I made the dean's list last semester. He tells me to go away. He called to take me up on my deal. He'll hire me at 5 times my rate to give him some information. I remind him, wasn't the deal 10 times my rate? Go away, 5 times is too much, and I only need you for an afternoon. Well, I've been thinking about it. My unemployment benefits run out in a week or 2. So I'll do it. I'll contract for you. I want 20 times what I was making. 40 hours minimum. Paid in advance. Oh, and written scope of work. I'm only doing the work you say you need done during negotiations. Go away. I'll give you 5 times in a day of work, and that's final. No, thanks, boss. I have to get back to the classes you're paying for. Thanks again. I hang up. He calls back an hour later, just moments before I started writing this. It's actually his daughter, the controller of the company. She says she spoke to the boss. He'll hire me at 20 times my rate for 40 hours of work, half paid up front. Actually, it was 100% up front, not half. Fine. She starts telling me what needs to be done. Turns out, they're failing a state audit quite badly. Like, boss is not a millionaire if this isn't fixed kind of badly. They have all the information they need. Of course, it's on my company email account's Google Drive. I'm not going to tell them this. Once he pays me for half a year's work, I'll gladly spend the hour or so of time it takes to transfer all of the data he needs to a flash drive, wait until Monday of next week, and then hand it to his receptionist. Really, the man couldn't have been nicer. He's already covered me going to college full-time for over a year and is about to cover another 2 semesters. I should buy him a cake. Edit update. I got a call. They seem to have decided that the daughter comptroller would be the best point of contact, which is fine with me. We got along fine. She has a nice kid that used to run around the office. It seems like the bulk of the issue is the information that they can't find. That's roughly zero work. But since they can't find that information at all, auditors are nitpicking very fine details that my replacements have bungled up. From the way she told it, it sounds like a nightmare. The literal end of times. Honestly, it sounds like a solid day of work running through their server with some of my tools. Maybe 2 days. She wants me to start as soon as possible while they finalize writing up a contract. I gave a surprised, hap of a chuckle and said no dice. Contract first, and I'll have them pass the audit perfectly, like I always used to. But there's a deadline. I work fast. You don't understand. We only have until the end of the month. This needs to start today. I work fast, and it sounds like you should hire someone who knows how to write contracts fast, too. Whatever. If you don't fix this, You know what? Never mind. I'll email you something in the morning. Sounds like a plan. Good night.